A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Our today's lecture is the measuring instrument. Measuring instruments, it is our today's lecture. In this lecture, we will discuss what is a measuring instrument, what are different types of measuring instrument. Then I will show you different measuring instruments. So there are different types of measuring instruments. Some instruments are used to measure length. Some instruments are used to measure mass. Some instruments are used to measure time. Then we have the instruments for temperature, for weight, for force, for current, for voltage. So there are different measuring instruments. So we will discuss these instruments, and I will show you different measuring instruments in our today's lecture. So our today's lecture is about the measuring instruments and then the types of measuring instruments, and then I will show you these instruments. This is our today's lecture. So our today's lecture is about the measuring instruments, that is, what are measuring instruments. We will discuss this different measuring instruments in this lecture. So first, these two things we will discuss in this lecture, that measuring instruments and types of measuring instrument. We will discuss different types of measuring instrument, and I will show you these instruments practically. So first, what is a measuring instrument? We will define the measuring instrument. The instrument which is used for measuring a physical quantity is called as measuring instrument. The instrument which is used for measuring a physical quantity is called as measuring instrument. So measuring instruments are used to measure different physical quantities, and there are different examples of the measuring instrument. For example, meter rule, it is a measuring instrument. Vernier caliper, screw gauge, physical balance, stopwatch, voltmeter, ammeter, thermometer. These are different examples of measuring instruments. Now, measuring instrument, these may be analog and digital. These are measuring instruments. Some instruments are analog, some are digital. And digital instruments are very easy for taking measurements, and digital devices can measure very small quantity. So digital instruments are the modern instruments which are used in laboratory. Now the types of measuring instrument, there are different types of measuring instruments. Some instruments are used for measuring length. Some instruments are used for measuring mass. Some instruments are used for measuring time. Some instruments are used for measuring current. Some for voltage. Some for temperature. So there are different measuring instruments which are used for different physical quantities. So every physical quantity has its own instrument. So every physical quantity is made by a different instrument. So first we are going to discuss the length measuring instruments. The length measuring instruments. So what are those instruments which are used for measuring length? For example, we have different instruments which are used for measuring length. For example, meter rule, it is used for measuring length. Vernier caliper, it is used for measuring length. Screw gauge, it is used for measuring length. So these are the length measuring instruments which I can show you. Now this is the first instrument which is used to measure length, and this instrument is called as the meter rule. This is the meter rule. It is used to measure length. You can see it. This is the meter rule which is used to measure length. These measurements are in centimeter, and these measurements are in inches. These are inches and these are centimeters. For example, 97 centimeter, 98, 99, 100 centimeter. And in inches we have 39 inches, and in centimeter we have 100 centimeter. This meter rule is 1 meter long, and it has the 100 centimeters. So this is the length measuring instrument. It is used to measure length. This is the first instrument which we use for the measurement of length. You can see it. These are the inches. For example, 9 inch, 10 inch, 11, 12, 13. These are the inches. And these are centimeters. For example, 25 centimeter, 26, 27, 28, 29. These are centimeters. This is a length measuring instrument, and it is used to measure length, and length of this meter rule is 1 meter. So it is the first length measuring instrument. You can see it. Now this is the second instrument which is used to measure length, and this instrument is called as vernier caliper. This is the vernier caliper. It is also used to measure length. You can see it. This is the vernier caliper. Now this is the third instrument which is used to measure length. This is called as micrometer screw gauge. This is the micrometer screw gauge. It is also used to measure length. You can see it. Next are the mass measuring instruments. What are those instruments which are used for measuring mass? So there are instruments which are used for measuring mass. For example, we have the physical balance and electrical balance. These are the instruments which are used in laboratory for measuring mass. So these two are the mass measuring instruments. So there are other instruments also, but in laboratory we use mostly physical balance and electrical balance as the mass measuring instruments, which I can show you. Now this is the mass measuring instrument. This is called as physical balance. It is used for the measurement of mass. So it is a mass measuring instrument. It is called physical balance. This is mass measuring instrument. It is also a mass measuring instrument. This is digital balance. It gives values in digits. These are the digits. We measure mass in digits. So this is a digital balance. It is also used for the measurement of mass. Now next are the time measuring instruments. What are the time measuring instruments? So there are different instruments which are used for measuring time. For example, stopwatch is the instrument which is used for measuring time. So stopwatch is the instrument which is used in laboratory for measuring time, and I can show you this stopwatch. And stopwatch is of two types. That is analog stopwatch and digital stopwatch. These are two types of stopwatch which I can show you. Next I am going to introduce you the time measuring instruments. This is a time measuring instrument, and this is a watch. It is called analog watch. In this watch we have a needle. This needle moves like this. So it measures the time. So it is a time measuring instrument. It is a stopwatch, and this stopwatch is called analog stopwatch. It is a time measuring instrument. It is also a time measuring instrument. It is called digital stopwatch. It is used for the measurement of time, and this is called as digital stopwatch. It gives values in digits. So it is a digital stopwatch. It is used in laboratory for the measurement of time. So these two are the time measuring instruments. Now we are going to discuss the volume measuring instruments. What are those instruments which are used for measuring volume? So there are different instruments which are used for measuring volume. We are going to discuss these instruments. For example, beaker, measuring cylinder, measuring flask, pipette, beverette, syringe. These are the volume measuring instruments which I can show you. Now I am going to show you these volume measuring instrument. This is the so-called flask. This is used for the measurement of volume. You can see it. This is the flask. This is used for the measurement of volume. Now this is another flask. This is also used for the measurement of volume. You can see it. This is a flask. This is a volume measuring instrument. This is another volume measuring instrument. This is a beaker. This is used for the measurement of volume. You can see it. This is a volume measuring instrument. This is the measuring cylinder. This is also used for the measurement of volume. You can see it. This is so-called measuring cylinder used for the measurement of volume. This is another volume measuring instrument, the so-called pipette. This is pipette. You can see it. This is a volume measuring instrument. Also, this is a pipette. These are two types of pipette. These are used for the measurement of volume. This is the syringe. It is also used for the measurement of volume. This syringe can also be used for the measurement of volume, but for the measurement of very, very small volume. You can see it. This is a syringe. This is a burette. This is also used for the measurement of volume. You can see it. This is burette, which is used for the measurement of volume. This is very long, and this is used for the measurement of volume. You can see it. This is burette. It is used in chemistry lab. So this is the burette also, which is used for the measurement of volume. So today these all are the instruments for the measurement of volume. Next we are going to discuss the temperature measuring instruments. What are those instruments which are used to measure temperature? We are going to discuss those instruments. So thermometer is the temperature measuring instrument. This thermometer, I can show you what is a thermometer. I am going to show you this instrument now. It's the temperature measuring instrument. This is called as thermometer. So this is a thermometer which is used to measure the temperature. You can see it. This is a thermometer which is used to measure temperature. You can see it. This is a temperature measuring instrument. And this instrument has the mercury. This red color is the mercury. This expands when temperature increases, and it contracts when temperature decreases. These are the readings on this thermometer. This is 30, 40, 50, 60. These are the readings on the thermometer. So this is a temperature measuring instrument. You can see it. Next we are going to discuss the weight or force measuring instruments. What are the instruments which are used to measure weight or force? So weight and force are measured by the spring balance or the Newton meter. So with the help of spring balance, or you can also say the Newton meter, we measure force and weight. So spring balance and the Newton meter, these are the same thing. These are two names of the same thing. So sometimes we say spring balance, sometimes the Newton meter. This is Newton meter or the spring balance. It is used to measure weight and force. So these are the weight measuring instruments or the force measuring instruments, which I can show you. This is the spring balance. It is used to measure weight. So it is a weight measuring instrument. It is also called the Newton meter. So it is a weight measuring instrument. You can see it. Next we are going to discuss the current measuring instruments. What are the current measuring instruments? So there are different instruments which are used for measuring current. For example, ammeter, milliammeter, microammeter. These are the instruments which are used for measuring currents. So ammeter is a current measuring instrument, milliammeter, microammeter. Ammeter can measure very, very large current. Then small current is measured by milliammeter. Then very, very small current is measured by microammeter. And I can show you these meters. And there are meters for measuring AC current and DC current. For AC current, we have separate ammeter, milliammeter, microvolt, microammeter, and for the AC current, we have other. So for AC current, there are AC ammeter, milliammeter, microammeter, and for DC current, we have DC ammeter, DC milliammeter, DC microammeter. So for both the currents, we have separate ammeters. So these are the current measuring instruments I can show you. Now this is a current measuring instrument. This is called ammeter. It is used to measure the current and the ampere unit. This is the ammeter, and this measures the large current, that is an ampere. This is also a current measuring instrument, but it measures the small currents. It is a milliammeter, so it measures the small current. It is milliammeter. It is also a current measuring instrument. It is called microammeter. It measures the very small current. So it measures the very small current. That's why it is called as microammeter. So all these three are the current measuring instruments. Next we are going to discuss the voltage measuring instruments. Voltage measuring instruments. There are the instruments which are used for measuring voltage. For example, voltmeter, millivoltmeter, and microvoltmeter. These are the instruments which are used for measuring voltage. Now there are voltages of two types, that is AC voltage and DC voltage. So for AC voltage and DC voltage, we have separate voltmeter, millivoltmeter, microvoltmeter. There is a AC voltmeter and DC voltmeter. There is AC millivoltmeter and DC millivoltmeter. There is AC microvoltmeter and then DC microvoltmeter. So for both the currents, we have separate meters. So these are the voltage measuring instruments which I can show you. Now this is the voltmeter. It is a voltage measuring instrument. This measures the voltage. That's why it is called voltmeter. And this measures the large voltage up to the 15 volt. It is a voltmeter. It is also a voltage measuring instrument. It measures the small voltage. So it is a millivoltmeter. It measures the voltage and millivoltage range. It is a millivoltmeter. It is also a voltage measuring instrument. It measures the voltage. It is a microvoltmeter. It measures the very small voltage. So that's why it is called microvoltmeter. So all these are the voltage measuring instruments. So today we have discussed the measuring instruments and the types of measuring instruments, and then I have shown you these instruments one by one. Thank you.